Gentlemen, we're back. 201 podcast where my audio quality is as inconsistent as the Leafs this season. But Alex, how are you?
That was a good one.
That was good.
A good one.
How are you both today? Happy belated birthday to Alex.
Thank you.
22. How do you feel?
How do you celebrate?
Dinner.
Another Leafs jersey?
Nope.
No.
He doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want anything to do with the Leafs.
Remember, Alex, I told you that hat that guy was wearing is usually the interview hats, the coach's hat that the players wear.
I think so.
I think they're on sale for $14.99. So great birthday deal.
Okay. No, nothing. I was walking out. You know how some grocery stores will have like those big portraits of sports teams and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I saw one that was like Leafs great stuff.
No.
I just said out loud. I said it was like below the Habs in the standings. So I walked out of my local independent grocery store. And you'll love to see it. Anyway, guys, there's a lot to talk about today. The Canucks won a game, but obviously Western sort of positivity obviously gets overshadowed by the Eastern bias that we have on the show. AKA, the Habs have been a wagon. It's been so much fun. And the Leafs, it's a little concerning right now. Now, the Habs aren't going to have so much a focus on their gameplay. I shouldn't say gameplay. But this isn't a video game. We're not going to so much talk about a lot of the Habs games because later I really want to talk about Carey Price. Spoke to the media, had an amazing article with Arpon Basu that came out that was I think every Habs fan reading it cried a little bit, myself included, that really he opened up about why he went into the player assistance program. Just a tremendous article we'll get to a little later. To open the show, though, Alex, in the notes you have something that says Alex's apology.
I got an apology.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but we had a discussion about Rasmus Dahlin 2 summers ago.
No, I don't remember this.
He was an RFA. It must have been in the middle of the summer. And apparently the contract talks it was weird. We didn't really know what the contract talks were. Then literally 4 days later, did they not sign a contract? Mm-hmm. And I think I made a ridiculous comment that he should just take what they're offering him. I could not be more wrong.
How much was that?
I don't remember. I don't remember at the time. I just remember he's making $5 or $6 million right now. And I could not be more wrong. So I apologize on that one. That one is a mistake. He has 10 points in 8 games this year.
And like half of them are goals?
Yeah, he has 5 goals.
There have been some really, really, I think it's this current contract. Yeah, it's $6 million. I think he signed it last summer and I don't think he was the holdout into a camp, but no. It's incredible. A few years ago, there was questions about, was he going to be the next Rasmus Ristolainen from some people? The Swedish, like left-handed version. I remember people were getting concerned, and he's really, really popped this year. It's been a real showing of like, this is what this guy is capable of. Still had like 50 points last year, but with the Sabres looking as impressive as they've been in years, except the power play, as Christophilus was yelling about in the group chat. Another group chat, people. He's been really fun. Him and the Sabres have been really fun. Not good enough to beat the Habs the other day. We'll take it, lads. We'll take it. Oh, you'll love it. Oh, God. A lot of the Habs are fun again.
Remember, it's because they love – it actually looks like they love being there at this point now.
They do.
The Sabres look like they're having fun.
Alex Tuck has changed everything.
Who would have known?
I thought it was just like a nice salary thing when that trade happened. No, Alex Tuck, cool. He likes Buffalo. Neat. But good on you, Alex. I think we were all a little thingy of that contract at the time. I think we were all a little skeptical. We should be ashamed. A lot of good stories that have happened at the beginning of the season now. We haven't covered everything because the Habs and the Leafs, there's been a lot to cover there. The Canucks were a mess. There's been a lot of fun stuff going around. Can't cover all of it, but Alex, I'm happy you brought up Dahlin and we could get some time in for him. I guess to start, this is just some of the stuff we're going to be talking out through the rest of the show. Stuff with the Sens, mainly to do with Mr. Josh Norris probably being out. Note on ASU, first game was there. Happened. We're going to talk about the Sharks for a bit. Erik Karlsson is back, baby. Let's go.
Adam's burner account messaged us.
I haven't looked at that tweet you sent yet. I'm
Okay.
excited to see what it is. We're going to talk about Shane Wright because he mentioned it on Hockey Night. It was coming up. Stuff's happening with Shane Wright, and I hate what the Kraken are doing with him. Vancouver won something, and they did some trades. Obviously, the Habs. But first, we got to talk about the Leafs.
Is that where we're starting? All right.
I think we have to.
Is it accurate to say if the Habs are a wagon, the Leafs are a leaky trolley right now?
A leaky what?
Trolley.
It's like one of those. It's one of the like the trolleys that have the messed up wheel, and it's just like it's. You wonder why there's only one shopping cart left, and you're like, and then you pick it up, and you're like,
oh, that's one.
That's why. Trolley.
Okay. You know what I was thinking of? You know when they used to bring the TV in your elementary school classrooms?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And there's always like one off wheel when they came in.
Yeah, and then the VHS thing, and you watch some old crappy, like no color documentary of World War II, and it was bad. Thank God Netflix has good stuff like that now, and hopefully the kids can get it because the documentaries we got when we were all in school, crap, absolutely.
There used to be an intense commercial. I remember it's like if you bought from PBS.
No,
it's like World War II in color, but they would say that line maybe 15 times in the 2-minute commercial.
The World War II in color stuff on Netflix, by the way, sensational. I've said it before.
Top tier.
Sensational stuff. Really, really good. The ones that have obvious like historians talking about it. But anyway, if the Leafs are the one bad wheel trolley, is that bad wheel the defense? Is it the 5-on-5 play? Alex, luckily you did not stay up. You did not stay up to watch the San Jose game because that was your birthday. I'm happy you didn't do that to yourself, my dear friend. How are you feeling about the Leafs? And what did you do to them the other day? What did you declare?
Okay,
this is monumental.
This is crazy. First off, let me start like this. Nothing has changed. I'm a little happy. I'll start with I'm a little happy at the moment because the thing I've been saying since last year has now become popular belief that everyone's blaming in sports. A lot of the times blame goes to the coach first. Mm-hmm. Not here. The blame, I'm not defending Keefe. I'm not defending Dubas. I'm just plainly putting it out as to how it is. This is not their it's not 100% their fault. This idea that that if you get rid of Keefe, this is going to change the team. It is not. But let me declare what I did. What was the bottom tier list on our tier list? What was the bottom tier?
It was
the list.
The list, yes.
The list.
Arizona.
For our off-season tier list.
Our off-season tier
San
list.
Jose.
I sent a message the other day putting them on the list. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because Mike wanted to put them on the list. And everything he described isn't the reason they're going on the list. It's actually, that's the most impressive part of all this is that they're going on the list and it has nothing to do with goaltending. Goaltending is not even remotely an issue to me. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not great. It's not outstanding, but it's not like a top tier issue I have.
Sam Sono's been solid.
He's been fine, but can we talk about I feel like I don't even want to dissect the last two games because I think it's meaningless considering what I've watched on the ice. I think, can we have the discussion about why it does not make sense to fire Keefe once again? Like, I feel like we have to go through this again.
So this is obviously, we have a lot of problems each watching Leafs and Habs games because they always are at the same goddamn time. So I have actually not seen a lot of Leafs hockey this year.
Perfect.
I got to watch a good part of the Caps game because they weren't. But then I switched over because I think the Avs may have been playing, and I was like, I want to watch the Avs.
Right.
So what I see from an outsider's point of view when watching the occasional LFR and seeing Leafs Twitter bleed into my timeline is, and you talk about nothing's changed, is the poor starts and sort of when they turn it on in the third period, you see a glimmer of hope, but there's the crap start, and that we saw that with Logan Couture getting on the board early in San Jose. And then on top of that,
The giveaways.
the 60. Oh, and Justin Hall's been bad. Yeah, I saw that. But that's what at least I've seen. Poor starts, not playing 60-minute hockey, and a big thing on 5-on-5 play right now is a lot of what I've seen.
It's just, again, I think I'm pretty sure I said it after the episode we did after their first couple games. It's just so uninspiring. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I have no reason to sit on the couch and like be happy watching this team, because it's not different. I think the reason I have high expectations for this team is because they're supposed to be good players.
Mhm.
They are, matter of a fact, they have talented players, correct?
Yep.
Star players.
You cannot argue, it's hard for anyone to not argue that. But it's nowhere near consistent. And it's been like that for 7 years. 7 years, this has been the same issue. This idea that getting rid of Sheldon Keefe and bringing in Barry Trotz is going to fix the Leafs is it's delusion. It's delusion, because I am in no shape, I'm not, in no way rewarding the players on this team after what I'm watching. Firing Sheldon Keefe and bringing in their third coach is rewarding the players, and I'm not doing it. It's stupidity. It's delusion. It's literal delusion. What makes you think that bringing in Barry Trotz is going to fix this issue? Is it a player issue? Is it a skill issue? Is it a defensive scheme issue? No, it is a consistency issue. So explain to me how Barry Trotz coming in is going to fix this team when you had the best coach in the league at the time for how many years? 4
And you're
4 years.
back to Babcock.
I'm
right?
Yes, I'm referring to Mike Babcock. When he came to Toronto, I said it 5 times on this podcast now. He was the best coach in the league. I'm not making that up. That was a thing.
Yeah, no argument there. When he came in, everyone was kind of thinking that was the final piece, I guess, management-wise of the Shana plan. But it's funny, Alex, when you mentioned the Barry Trotz thing, I know that there is this one specific tweet we have mentioned. I know you're not really alluring to that. I know it's a bigger idea of wanting to do that, but I agree with you when we mentioned there's that carousel of coaches. You don't necessarily see that with teams that position themselves as being a contender. Before this episode, I was looking at what we said, all the positive things about Buffalo, but prior to what they were able to do with more consistent people there, how many coaches did Jack Eichel have? Like 5 coaches. We saw at Edmonton where we go all,
Pre-Eichel, it was a revolving door. Probably after Lindy Ruff, it was
maybe half a season, 1 season, and then we even saw that with Edmonton.
GMs too.
Edmonton as well, where how many coaches were there before and after Taylor Hall?
It's, I saw a tweet that I thought was really funny from Bill as a BILLZ TWEETZ. Bill's tweets, really funny. Leafs follow on Twitter. You'd think Marner and Matthews would play hard for a coach that seemingly gives them everything they want. Now, maybe a little jab at Keefe there. Yeah. However, I agree that it has to be the thing of, I love looking at sort of scoring of the Leafs last season, right? And then Nylander was a point short of point per game. Matthews and Marner, everyone knows how good they were. Tavares was just shy of point per game. Morgan Riley nearly at 70 points. We all know what it is about the top guys. And, the discussion about the bottom 6 is one that has been done to death. And to be honest, I'm not surprised if it's a bit jumbly and maybe chemistry's not there and they don't know what they have. Except Pierre Engvall, my God, dude, please. It's like, if there's 2 things in life that I can't stand, it's the constant trade rumors of Alex Kerfoot and before him, Travis Dermott. And now it is also the thing of goodness gracious, Engvall, be consistent, please. Where was like last year? You were
yeah. Finish your track.
But I don't. I almost like, okay, yeah, bottom six is one thing. Okay, whatever. Yeah, you need a bottom six that's reliable in that. You can fix that. The deadline will help with that. But what's not going to change at the trade deadline, no matter what, we saw that with Babcock, we're going to see it with Keefe, and it doesn't matter who you bring in. The way the team is built, and it's really the best way to build a team objectively, your stars are the ones that have to carry it. And Austin Matthews, so his second goal was a power play against the Sharks, I think. I can't remember if his first goal of the year was on the power play too. I remember it was a tip, but him not having a clean shot 5-on-5 goal this deep into the season, and this is different from last year when he had the cold start surgery. People say Nathan's hurt right now. It is very different.
Then don't play. Then, dude, if he's injured, don't play. I'm over it. They did this with Freddie 2 years. They did this with Freddie 2 years in a row. They did it with Jack last year. Enough of playing. Is the team actually this good? Then you can sit the guy for. I don't honestly, respectfully, I don't care if he scores 60 goals in the regular season. He could score 45, and I'd be more than pleased. If that means he's going to be pardon.
Tavares he's played well enough this year. He can take that role
he's back. Skating's better.
If that means he's healthy come the beginning of the playoffs, then screw it. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But enough of this. Enough. If he's actually injured, enough. I'm over it. Like, I'm over them doing this. I'm tired of it.
Now, if he is healthy,
if he's healthy,
it is on them to carry the team. You could get them going, and then you have the season to figure out your bottom six. Oh, when these guys aren't scoring, the level of play and the level of skill Matthews and Marner have, you have to rarely worry about them not scoring. I don't give a crap about how well Engvall know that play. If Marner and Matthews aren't going, that's my number one concern. Right. And, Marner apparently, and I think it was either the Kings or Sharks game, apparently looked like he was trying to will that team on his back.
I think that was Sharks.
It's one of the games on the road trip. Death Valley is back, apparently. Who knows what the Ducks game is going to be like. But, it starts with them.
Dude, I think I agree. And I think it's simple as saying play like you give a damn. Like it's that simple. Do they have it in them? You wanted to get, and here's the thing. And it goes back to why do Leaf fans have such high expectations for this team? Because the players who should be playing like they give a damn asked to be paid money like players who give a damn, and they're not doing it. The fact of the matter is, like, they're not doing it now. Like, I'm the first guy to say the regular season. I said it earlier. The regular season does not matter. Those guys on the ice do not have the luxury to think like that. They don't.
We're almost 10 games into the season, basically. And I mean, okay, at the top, the goal scorers, it's Tavares, Nylander, 4 goals each.
Good.
And number 2 is?
Isn't it David Kampf?
Yes, he has 3 goals.
Dude, how? Like, how? Like, Sid Sixero tweeted the 28th. So that was after the San Jose game. I'm not sure what's currently motivating the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I'm pretty sure it's not Sheldon Keefe. Again, you get paid millions of dollars. For the love of God, show up. If Sheldon Keefe if you cannot be motivated to just start the damn game, what are we doing? Honestly, like what are we doing here? How is it his job? Why is he the one that's going to be fired for the failure time and time again for this team to show up? If you can't show up game 1 of the playoffs, screw you. Like, get out, man. It's ridiculous. How can you not show up? You're supposed to love this sport. You are supposed to be top tier, but you can't show up for game 1. You can't show up for game 1 when you're playing the Leafs' biggest rival. Game 1 of 82 games now. You could not show up on game 1 of the season. Are you kidding me? That's not a Sheldon Keefe problem. I'm sorry if these guys cannot show up. That it is not a Sheldon Keefe problem. Mike Babcock couldn't do it, and now Sheldon Keefe can't do it. Leave it alone. Stop blaming the coaches. If you have an issue with the way they play, come on in, explain it to me. But if it's a motivation issue, from what I've seen, if you can't get up to play these games, get out. I'm over it. It's done.
Here's how their schedule's looking for November. Tomorrow's Halloween. Hey, who's ready? So here's how it looks. So obviously today they play the Ducks the 30th of October. If you're listening to this, the game might be done. It is the end of the road trip. It's the second half of a back-to-back, but the Ducks are bad. And Daniel's fantasy team will tell you all you need to know about John Gibson this season. And Twitter videos where he keeps getting angry at people.
Oh, man.
Then the Flyers, who are leading the Metropolitan, but who knows, a John Tortorella team. Not to take digs here, Alex, but I mean, we all saw what happened with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Dude, they're gonna get scrunched. They're gonna get killed. Like they're gonna, like Steve Dangle said, lunch money, baby. That's what's gonna happen.
And it doesn't get easier in November. This is brutal. Then it's at home, Saturday, November 5th. It's the Boston Bruins, who just got Brad Marchand back. Then it's
he's still good.
Yeah, who is very good. Thank you. Thanks, Brad. Need you on fantasy. Then it's the Canes. Then it is Vegas, Pittsburgh, who have lost recently, but it's Sidney Crosby. Who cares? Then it's the Canucks, who you never quite know. Then the Penguins again, New Jersey, who we're questioning what they are. The Sabres, who are fun. The Islanders are always going to bring their game versus the Leafs. Then it's the Devils again. Minnesota, who we don't know. Another game against Pittsburgh on the 26th. It's my mom's birthday, fun fact. Detroit, who are not bad this year. And then they finish off against the San Jose Sharks, led by my man, your man, Erik Karlsson again. That's a tough month. And, they've lost to the Sharks, the Coyotes, and the Habs. And obviously, the Habs this year are not the same as they were last year. But just looking at it, they lost to those 3 teams before November.
Dude, and it's
standard. Yeah. And I'm a Habs fan. Like,
no, I agree.
So much higher there.
And it's not a matter of that they lost. It's like this idea. Listen, I get it. Like, apparently the Avalanche lost both their games to the Coyotes last year,
and got shut up by the Devils like last week.
But okay, but it is. They won the cup. They're good. Like. It is about how they are losing these games. It is not about that they lost. If you watch the game, you're telling me you're okay with this. Like, this idea that this is a new issue is just unbearable. It's not. Listen, I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I hope I maybe that's not clear of how frustrated I am. I genuinely hope I'm wrong. I hope the playoffs come around and hopefully they're in it and they kill it. I hope they do. That would make me so damn happy. But once again, they're proving to me that the same mistakes that plagued them in years past are continuing to plague them again. This isn't a new issue. This is the same stuff we saw from year 1, and it's just rolled into year 7, and it's just more embarrassing now because half this, like, Matthews is making $11.6 million. Marner's making $11 million. Tavares is making $11 million.
Wait. Isn't it like 11.94, 93? Don't forget about the numbers, Alex.
For who? For Marner?
For Matthews and Marner.
Matthews is 11.63. Marner's like 10.993. I don't know. Nylander's making 6.9. Like,
that's
it's embarrassing. You're making this much money and it's a problem to show up. Come on, get out of here. Leave, play or leave. Like, what are we doing?
When we see the post-game interviews, it's always that word unacceptable that you hear from Keith, you hear from the players,
because it is.
But when do you reach that point where it's like, okay, yeah, we realize we're losing like this, and we shouldn't be playing like this. So when can we change? And I
agree.
This is the thing I saw on the weekend is you see the Sharks game, you see the Kings game, and maybe there's that initial momentum, and then if there's like those oh no moments, usually in the second period of a this happens, the Kings score 3 or the Sharks go up 3-1 and that's about it. Like that you still have the third, but there's that push Adam you mentioned, but that's about it. There's not really anything else. There's no real rally. There's no, hey, maybe if we fix those earlier mistakes, we wouldn't be here.
It's easier to get ahead than to catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been over the player quotes for like 2 or 3 years now. It goes in one ear, out the other. Like I could not care less because it's the same stuff they've been saying for 7 years. Again, this is what I don't understand. Like I understand why people would want Sheldon Keefe fired. And again, I'm not defending him. I'm just not interested in rewarding players who don't give a crap. What are you supposed to do? At this point, what are you supposed to do? It's not a way of playing. Are they playing that differently than they did last year when they had their best regular season in history? Are people actually believing that they're playing drastically differently?
I know a lot's been made of the speed and the breakout stuff and the first touches from defensemen. If we're asking what they're going to do, they have LTI relief. Muzzin's on it for a while. We don't know how long that's going to exactly be, I'm pretty sure. But that Marner quote about if he steps and plays again, I think was pretty telling. I think they got to do something about the right side of the defense.
But what is Keefe supposed to do? I agree. What is in this situation? If he's like, what is he supposed? This isn't a him problem. Are they like they're not playing that differently? This is the frustrating part. I can't imagine how you look at this and say this is a Sheldon Keefe problem when the players on the ice don't give a crap. It should not be it should not be his issue that they're not showing up to play the damn regular season. They're not Tampa Bay. They're not Colorado, who have won cups in the last 4 years to pretend like they can walk through this season. This isn't. It's this meant this.
You know what seemed to have woken up Vancouver a little bit? Jim Rutherford goes down and said, "Hey, listen, even if it's Boudreau or something along the lines of, if we're making changes, it's not just the coach. Does Dubas have to say something to the team? Because Sheldon has that elite players quote. Sheldon can't just blast bullet, right? Because right now, if the players aren't going to get it, and do I dare use the phrase player-only meeting, I don't know what more Sheldon can do. He's tried changing up the lines here. What more can he really do here? He can go out and say this and say that and do this system, that system. The special teams are good, apparently. They look great. 5-on-5 in that, there's enough talent. There just needs to be a thing of, does he do the sort of Tortorella and does he make the big move of saying, I'm going to sit this guy? Does he risk sort of rubbing someone the wrong way and that sort of thing?
No, screw that. Rub him the wrong way. I don't care.
Then, you remember Mitch Marner was on the fourth line? I just always remember that.
I think Mitch Marner remembers people.
Yes, with Matt Martin.
I think Leafs fans remember him being on the fourth line because of the contract stuff. But at some point, it's accountability is a thing, man. I think Sheldon's got a way to
There's that word again.
To hold him accountable. Because they can't go on like this. Like, even if I mentioned trades, if they bring in like Connor Murphy, like some people are suggesting, I saw that on Leafs Twitter.
What does that do?
What's Connor Murphy gonna?
He's right side defensive D. I don't know. It's okay. This is why he's also on a budget.
Is he an upgrade on Justin Hall? Sure, but is Connor Murphy going to? Is he going to be the guy who gets Austin Matthews going? No, that has to be Austin Matthews.
Is there a player who's like? There's no player that you're going to fit into this squad at the moment that's going to make everyone give a crap.
I thought that was going to be Mark Giordano. He's
the only one trying out there.
Jason Spezza goes, and then it's
for how many years was Jason Spezza leave? 2 or 3?
3 years.
For the past 4 years, the oldest guy on this team is the only one who gives a crap.
That's not good, man.
Are you kidding me?
Was he older than Thornton?
No, Thornton was in his 40s.
Thornton also looked, he was slow as hell, but at least he looked like he gave a crap.
I'm embarrassed for you. Never forget.
Never forget. It's unacceptable, but that the 38, 39, 42-year-olds are the only ones who time and time again consistently look like they care.
Well, gentlemen,
I'm over it.
anything else to touch
No.
on the Leafs before we go?
No.
Might be a bit more after tonight's game. We'll see.
So,
But it's just going to be the same. We're going to have the same conversation. I've been having this conversation with myself for like 2 years by myself because everyone seems to think this team's whatever. Like,
the unreleased audio
it's the
of
same
Alex.
thing. I'm just in my head. I'm like, guys, what are we looking at? Every time I go on Twitter, I'm like, are we watching the same team? It's been the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on.
Alex Leafs files soon to be released.
Sorry,
in our special features.
So there was a good story around the Leafs, but it
yes,
had to do with a former Leaf, Phil Kessel. The magic number now is 991. It will be 992 when Vegas play tonight, which will be against the Winnipeg Jets. That will be his 992nd consecutive game. He has passed Keith Yandle's 989. He did score his 400th goal, I think, in the game. He broke the record against James Reimer and the San Jose Sharks. He did score in the game against the Leafs, but it was called back. Sheldon Keefe, you party pooper. How dare you? But a moment to acknowledge Phil Kessel, the folk hero. That man somehow is the Iron Man. I cannot believe it.
Fun fact.
I love that guy.
The beginning of this Iron Man streak was his debut with the Leafs.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Jeez, that was so long ago.
He could hit knock on wood. He could hit 1,000 consecutive games. That'd be insane. Good for him, man. He deserves it. Putting up with as much crap as he has in his career, beautiful. Yeah. Is he a Hall of Famer? Iron Man.
I think so. I think
he is.
So. I want to say yes.
Here's what I think. One day, not soon. Like, he shouldn't get in quicker than Alfredson did.
How many years did it take Alfredson?
Too many. I know he wasn't first ballot, which was a shame.
No, obviously not.
I
don't know, man. I think by the end, pardon?
Ottawa media had to call out Leaf bias to get Alfredson into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Even though if you go look at the list of people who are on the committee.
I mean, I don't think there's any bias. Like McGillney's, I was going to say that. There's no Leafs bias there.
No, but if you actually go look at the people who are on the committee, like it's just a ridiculous statement.
Chris Kunitz be in before Phil Kessel. Yeah.
I don't even start that argument. I will defend Phil. I will defend Phil Kessel to the grave. Like, honestly, I think by the end of his career, he's going to be an absolute lock. Like I get it. He's 35. He's on the back end of his career, but like, I don't know, man. I think we look at the last couple of years when he was in Arizona. Obviously, it was not fantastic, but like he had 52 points last year.
After 38 the year before?
He had 43 points the year before in 56 games.
So that many points on an
Arizona
team.
Yes, yeah.
With Coyotes,
with the way their injuries were, you'd never know who your center was.
Speaking of the Coyotes, ASU had its first game. That was a really rough transition, but I really had to. They did lose it in overtime to the Winnipeg Jets, which was really, really funny. By the way,
the irony.
Yes,
irony of their first college game against the Jets.
So apparently they are going to have. I forgot where I saw this first, so my apologies. Maybe Craig Morgan.
Probably.
We'll just assume it's Craig Morgan. Apparently they are going to have a separate section that is the student section with cheaper ticket prices. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
nice. That's cool.
Leafs should do that.
No,
they're
never gonna do that.
How dare you? So ASU. First off, Darren Dreger's on Insider Trading. November 29th, mark it on the calendar. Tempe City Council will be meeting, and it's expected that they will be voting to approve the Coyotes to move forward with their Tempe arena.
So we actually have an update on that.
Yeah.
So this is from Craig Morgan, literally 12 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Friedman retweeted it. I just saw it. It says, breaking, per sources, the Tempe City Council is likely to refer the Coyotes Arena and Entertainment District proposal to referendum, leaving a vote in citizens' hands. That may delay the process, but the proposal appears to have support. So
Oh, okay.
Oh.
that
Okay,
would be
Alex,
interesting
quickly
what happens.
invite Elliot Friedman to this call so we can get the
Listen, I don't have that kind of pull.
That'd be pretty cool.
That
not
would
yet.
be.
So now the Coyotes got Twittered a bit when sort of work about their temporary home and temporary visiting arenas sort of came up. Apparently those were old pictures, and that it's funny. The Jets put up a picture of the actual road locker room finished, and we're like, our home for tonight. That looked better. It was still basically a community rink they sectioned off. I'm not too upset with it because it's 4 games. But I think it was still funny to see because listen, there's a lot of jokes being made and people are trying to make the best out of the situation. I'm not, and I'm gonna laugh at it.
Oh no, it's hilarious.
What did I call it? Oh, I called it like the backstage of a WWE.
Yeah,
event.
that's what it looked like. It really like in the video games, it looked identical to that.
Like,
I thought
we have to make this black and white that an NHL team is having a locker room that is a section of a rink closed off with curtains. Like I don't care how old the picture. That is what is happening with that. It's just funny to me. It's just really funny. But
it's a kind of embarrassing. It's embarrassing that the league has put themselves in this situation.
Yeah, yep, you're not wrong.
Like I'm not going to trash Arizona, but like it's just embarrassing that the league had allowed it to get to this level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, move on to the Montreal Canadiens. First off, tremendous game yet again from Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield against the Blues last night. Down 3-1, rousing win where Chris Dvorak gets a natural hat trick in the third because that was on the bingo card.
Wait, did you lose points, Adam, for that win?
Yeah, because Bennington lost.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm just realizing that now.
So here's the thing. I had a decision because I had all but one forward playing. My one forward sitting was Robert Thomas, right? So I was looking and like, I'll sit Barzell, who only had an assist, so that wasn't as bad. Because I kept Nacast and he had the overtime game winner in Carolina, so that was good. But I was worried because I played him and Markstrom, and I was like, Markstrom against the Flames. It wasn't bad, but it was against the Oilers, and I was like, okay, I'll play them both because I'm just going to take a risk. And then that's my problem. I underestimated Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, which I should never do again. But I'm in pole position to win this week against Mike, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, Bennington was mine. Yeah, he was.
Update next episode.
He was left out to dry. It wasn't his fault. It was a bad defensive performance from the Blues, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure Torrey Krug lost me points.
Yeah, he wasn't great. He got this. Okay, Torrey Krug, funny you mentioned him. He bullied Nick Suzuki, like basically threw off his gloves and tried to bully him, and they both got a 4-on-4, even though Nick Suzuki just stood there and didn't want to fight because NHL officiating is still a joke.
Fantastic.
Want to quickly mention Uri Safkovsky scores last night. He's getting power play time. They eased him in. They haven't sat him. He's back from injury. We're going to get to another pick in the last draft that was very high up that is not being developed very well. Hello, Seattle. We'll get to Shane Wright in a second here. But Safkovsky's looking good. The power play.
How many games are there now? Like, has he played 9 already? Or
5. No, I saw last night on the broadcast it was like 5.
Do
Okay.
you mean Shane or Uri?
Uri. So
sorry. I thought you meant Shane.
Since he could go to the AHL, does that affect? This is still going to affect the 1 year, or it's not going to affect the 1 year if he plays 9?
I couldn't tell you, Daniel. To be honest, I don't know the answer to that. But I don't think he's played 9 because he had that injury. So he has played. If you just give me a second to get his hockey. He's played 6 games.
Okay.
Yeah, power play, really good. Apparently, he was like, I called my parents. I was so excited I get to play on the power play. He's so funny. He's the best. And he was really
what a
throwing
turn
the
of
body.
events on this podcast.
I know. So Martin St. Louis talked a lot about the fact that he needs to develop that NHL identity. And the best thing Marty said last night was we saw him playing physically. We saw him have a bit of an identity. So that's good for Uri. Doing that and scoring goals and sort of having that sort of this is what I am, that's going to keep you in the league longer. So that's good for him. I wasn't a fan of how they were easing him in, but maybe I should just shut up and let the coach do his thing. Marty St. Louis knows a bit more than me. Caden Gooley also gets his first career goal against the Sabres, which was just what a shot that was, eh? God, he's good. God, even though the numbers about him and Savard aren't very good because David Savard's not good. You guys see that Mike Hoffman went on a blocking spree on Twitter?
No.
Oh, Habs on Reddit, Habs Chronicle all got blocked.
Was it because of that first line? He was on the first line, and then everyone just reacted to that.
Here's a shame. He actually kind of earned that spot, but he had a really good game. But then he sort of coughed up the puck for an empty netter. I forget who was against. But he was playing well. He earned the spot, but everyone's like, guys, can we put Kirby Doc up there? And the fan base just don't love Mike Hoffman. So yeah, he went on the blocking spree. It wasn't very I've tweeted about Mike Hoffman before and I wasn't blocked, so I guess I'm not significant enough. But
More to come.
yeah, I mean, Mike Hoffman just played better. It's really funny. One of the games, I think it was the one he played really well in. I can't remember who it was against. There were a bunch of like scouts and AGMs at that Habs game. I think it was against the Wild actually. So it was like, what's happening here? Is this why he's playing so well? Because he wants to get out of here? Cool. Keep doing this. We're fine. But yeah, no, Caden Gooley, shout out to him. I think the only guy on the roster who doesn't have his first career goal is the guy they got off waivers from Winnipeg, whose name I can't say. Kovacevic, I think it is. Kovacevic?
Yeah, sure.
Great guy. Who I haven't noticed, but I think that's good because he's a defenseman and he's low event hockey. And Armia's back. Woo!
Hey.
Joel Armia and Pizzetta got on the lineup too.
A lot of forwards.
Hey, yeah, they do. I want. It's a who's gonna lose? Well, Druin and like Dodonov got sat, but yeah, Druin's not coming back next year. Druin's gone. It's a shame.
Sorry, Adam.
It's fine. At least I got my Druin jersey back. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. But here's the big thing. Carey Price spoke to the media. Here's the big thing with Carey Price, gentlemen. He first off doesn't have a plan to retire. I'm sure that was so the insurance companies don't go after the Habs. But the way it is right now is he's focusing on being pain-free day to day. It's sad, man. It was the most open we have ever seen Carey Price. There's been a lot of sort of talk from media members about sort of if Price was standoffish and why we didn't see his personality. And guys like Marc-Antoine Gaudin said the media definitely have a part to play in that. Something I definitely go recommend everyone watch out. But first I want to talk about the article in The Athletic. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, they're doing this sort of top 99 players of the modern era. And they're doing 99 players because everyone knows who number one's going to be. Better be Sidney Crosby, but 99 probably points to another player who we all know. Okay. So Carey Price was number 88. And so there's this article that Arpin Basu, stop me if you've heard this before, fantastic article in The Athletic. And Carey Price really opens up about just personally. Basically, what it turns out he went to the player assistance program for was alcohol abuse. And he there's this bit about him talking to Nate Thompson, who we know has been a real figure of sobriety in that within the league, talking about just how he could have gone about this. He didn't have to tell anyone, admitting he wasn't being a good father at the time, and he got his help and he was public with it. Talked about sort of the history of alcoholism for First Nations people, and how he's known people who have gone through it. I thought that was a really, really good point too, that I didn't really think about, but just a really heartfelt thing from Carey Price that we're not used to seeing, but emotional, but it's just makes you appreciate him so much more.
Yeah, and I think because he just wasn't always so open. I think he showed his personality, but it was a hockey player thing, right? Like he had the personality, but it wasn't there. And I think for him to open up like this, considering the stature of player he is, especially in Montreal, I think it was I don't want to say it was nice to read. It was difficult to read, but it was nice to see someone, especially of that stature, open up.
To have this level of openness, especially for a player, I think really does bridge that generation literally between what we saw of old time hockey pre-lockout to someone drafted during the lockout to be this type of figure right now about wanting to talk about your struggles, wanting to have more of that, I guess, like personal dialogue you really do not see at all in hockey. And to have it at that level now of that discussion we're having on how are we going to change the game? How are we going to actually view it as these are people beyond the rink? I think Carey did a great job with that.
Mm-hmm. There were moments in the past, and again, there's a new episode of the Sport Athletic, an English episode of it, where again, Marc-Antoine Godin and Arpin Basu talk a lot about Price, and the few moments he's actually shown his personality, there's been bite back. The Hobbit in the Hole comment from those years ago, that everyone relaxed from that famous preseason game that he had, that was Price, and people just bit at him. And it's unfair. Marc-Antoine was making a point about how it was almost a missed opportunity that we're seeing this side of Price so late in his career. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think a lot of that needs to be put on the Canadians too. You know, remember when Marc Bergevin called himself Carey Price's protector? Man, you gave him Antti Niemi as his partner. What were you doing, man? I don't know if they did enough to really help Carey Price on and off the ice. I've talked about on the ice playing. On and off the ice, I wonder how much, that old regime, I'm not going to refer to the new one because we know how, they're opening like mental health sort of medical teams and that.
Yeah. He also hasn't really been around during the new regime.
It's weird to think that Hughes hasn't even been on the job a year, eh?
Yeah.
Or has it been a year? No.
It would be a year relatively soon.
Yeah.
Did they not fire?
Yes, yeah. It's time doesn't exist, but Slavkovsky was his first draft.
Yeah.
It's weird to think, even like Ken Hughes always gets asked about Price every interview he does, as he's joked before. But like, I wonder how often they've actually spoken to each other.
Right.
Like, especially in person in that. It's very strange. It's weird that you've seen a lot in life without Carey Price, as I've mentioned before, the past year for Habs fans. But whenever he shows up, it speaks to the stature of the man, that everything goes to him. Your eyes go. Such a low-key character has such a presence about him. I just want to read you guys this quote from Brendan Gallagher very quickly. One that I think is very, very important. And this isn't the one about how calm Price was for Game 7s and all that, even though that was so great. This is Brendan Gallagher. This is a tweet that Eric Engels put out there. Brendan Gallagher says Carey Price's 31 should hang from the Raptors at the Bell Center someday. Now, obviously, guys, you have heard me talk about all of Carey Price's, exact his numbers in that, him never leaving the team. This is a really nice thing that Gallagher mentions on and off the ice stuff. To me, there's no doubt when you talk about the impact that he's had, you talk about the success that he's had. When you come to the game, people come to see Carey Price play. That's not something usual. People want to see goals. People want to see excitement. But he was flashy and exciting at the same time, calm and poised. He's done everything to deserve it. Obviously, it would have been nice to have won a Stanley Cup, and then there wouldn't be an argument. He got us there. It's hard to say, but it would be fair to say he'd have gotten us there another time if he hadn't been hurt, in brackets, the 2014 conference finals. He just did so much throughout his career. I think you look at the names and the jerseys up there, I understand all the cups. People came specifically to see players. Price was that guy people came to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for literally his whole career, save for PK Subban maybe.
Listen.
For a bit, it was Carey Price.
I told you guys this, and myself as a Habs season ticket holder, if there was one game, if I can only see one game for the rest of my life, I almost said my career, not a career being a fan, it would be that I wanted to be at Carey Price's last game if we ever knew. It looks like I got to do that game against the Panthers. I'm an example of how much he means to the fan base. And again, it was a big thing in this article that even if he didn't get the cup and all the accolades he has on the ice, what he's sort of done to show the people to get help and what he's done off the ice is another way that he's a winner that Arpin puts out in that piece. He's just, man, yeah, he's so great. So there's this Habs account. I forget what it's exactly called, but it's like Habs Fans TV. And they somehow got to talk to Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes for a few seconds. And they asked Kent Hughes, do you think that his number is going to be in the rafters? And Hughes said, that's not my decision. But he has a smile on his face and he says, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, though.
Right.
And if it doesn't, I will personally go to Montreal, find Jeff Molson's house, and I will protest until it happens. Mr. Molson, do the right thing and give the man his respect because he's a goddamn hero. Yeah, great player, somehow a better person. Also, something I should mention, he pointed out when asked when did his knee issue start, he said around the age of 8.
Jeez.
Now, everyone, I think, at first saw 8 years, and they started thinking, oh, maybe 2016-ish after the Kreider stuff. No, he was saying just how young he is and playing the goaltending position. I'm sure Kreider didn't help, but it was nice he didn't just sewer him because Carey's that type of guy. Wouldn't dare do that. All right. Oh, what a man. What a freaking man. I love that man. Ah, he's the best. Okay. Looking around the league, we teased it. I think we should talk about the Seattle Kraken.
Let's do it.
All right. Shane Wright, who you guys know I'm a big fan of, wanted him as a had. I can't say what I exactly put as the title of this segment because it has a bad word in it. But the Seattle Kraken. Now, Ron Francis, she basically talked to Allison Lucan, who is that very good reporter, very good with numbers, and that specifically covers the Kraken now, I think, for their TV side of it. Was told, of course, by Ron Francis, sorry I said that, Kraken GM, and this was echoed last night on the 32 Thoughts Hockey Night edition by Jeff Merrick, that currently Shane Wright averaging his 6 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time is apparently not ideal. And
Really?
Francis wants him in about 10 to 12 minutes. Now, he also said that he doesn't want to send Shane Wright back to the OHL. Now, this comes off of Shane Wright being a healthy scratch for the past 3 games, a homestand that his grandparents came to watch him and didn't get to because he didn't play.
Dave Hackstall.
Who else did that? It was in Dallas. It was Riley Tuff. Remember that? He bought tickets for his entire family and then he didn't play.
Yes. What the Kraken are dicks. Like, remember they signed him for the home opener too? Why? Like,
well, let's be clear at who this is. Let's not throw this at the Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
Let's and I'm not gonna try to defend Ron Francis,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the coaching staff not playing Shane Wright. He should, whether you think he's an NHL player or not, there's clearly some disconnect between management and coaching.
So the thing is, right, and I see Kraken's fans saying, you blame the coach when you see him playing, he makes mistakes, probably shouldn't be there, right? And the Kraken talk about how they want him to watch the game.
Man, was he like Babcock?
I was thinking about this last night, right? Watching, practicing morning skates only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
They say experience is the best teacher, right? A player has to learn how to make mistakes. You know what I mean? How does Shane Wright go out and have a healthy shift where he's getting to the flow of the game when he's worried that he'll make one mistake or he'll lose one face-off and he's not going to see the ice for the rest of the period? A player needs to touch the puck. Otherwise, of course he's not going to do anything. And if they're stalling to get him to the World Junior Camp, if it's a few days, whatever, guys, we're in November soon. I don't know what you're doing. This is a guy who, even if he fell, top 5 pick, 4th overall, projected to be the best player of that draft for years, cornerstone of your franchise. Lads, what are you doing? 651? That's not enough.
No, that's not. It's
playing him like a grinder.
Honestly,
like a 4th line grinder.
2014, your 4th line right wing back in the day.
And I get that they're having an okay start. The Kraken are. I'm gonna pull them up right now. I don't remember their.
Yeah, thanks, Chris Letang. Couldn't carry the defense against Kraken last night. Thanks.
They're 4-4-2. I understand that, but I don't see who are you playing that is so important to your 4-4-2 start.
He's not going to take away from Matty Beniers, who has been really good.
No, he's been good. Yeah.
Shout out to my fans, Shane. Yeah, love you, Matty. But he's not going to take away from Beniers.
No.
I think they have had a problem playing McCann, but you can't get him a few moves in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jaden Schwartz has probably been the comeback story. He's been pretty hot.
Like this is their. Oh, sorry. I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, this is their center depth currently. Yeah. Matty Beniers at 1.
Yep.
Alex Wenberg at 2, Yanni Gourde at 3, and Morgan Geekie at 4.
Morgan Geeky. Let me look up let me get up Morgan Geeky stats.
He's from Carolina.
He
Uh,
was one
He
of
was
the
there.
no,
He was
I
there.
remember him.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just, it's just like you're playing Morgan Geeky, who
Like
has
your
3
fourth
points
line.
in 7
Yeah,
games over Shane, right? Come
your
on.
fourth line is Ryan Donato, Morgan Geeky, Daniel Sprong. The argument that the argument that you cannot play Shane Wright over one of those three guys, I just I don't understand
Ease
how
him in at
this
the
is
wing. Doesn't have to
pardon?
be center. Ease him in at the wing.
Exactly. The Sens did that with Stutzla. The Sens, I think, did it again, are doing it again with, or am I getting them confused?
Pinto? Maybe?
I think Pinto, either Pinto or
Ducks.
Norris.
Remember the
They did it
Ducks
with
transition
Zegras. Yeah, Zegras. Sorry, that's
Yeah,
probably who I
gradually.
was thinking of. Not Ottawa was Stutzla, but like, there's no reason he should not be in the lineup to me. He's your fourth overall pick, and I respect and I understand why you don't want to send him back to the CHL. Like, what is he going to go do in the CHL? Rip it up, and that's going to do what? He's been ripping it up there for a couple of years. Like, it's just a situation. Like, he could be playing in the NHL. They want him playing in the NHL, and you're not playing him in the NHL. Like, this is I'm not entirely sure of why they cannot play him over Ryan Donato, Morgan Geeky, or Daniel Sprong.
What do you think is going to happen? Like, in my opinion, I think he's going to get sent down. Back to junior.
Had him to play. Like, the thing is that was so important about his draft year was it had the slow first half, right? And then there was the thing of his line mates and who he was playing with and was it really helping. Again, I don't know the exact rules when it comes to, say, transfer stuff with, like, if he can play in the overseas leagues and that, and but then is there spots because rosters are already set in that. It's like, if that's how you're gonna get him to play, like, do it then.
Do it.
Like, just send him back then. Like, get him those touches. Get him playing games. Because the CHL has started already, too.
Yeah. The Merrick, I'm going to assume it was Merrick because Merrick's the only one with CHL sources on 32 Thoughts. I love you, Elliot Friedman, but let's be honest here. I believe Merrick was touching upon the point that they might be Kingston's sorry, my God. Kingston might be looking to trade Shane Wright's rights.
Get
it? But
yeah. Because his name's Wright.
Yeah. They might be looking to trade that, and obviously Seattle would be involved because, surprise, surprise, NHL teams are involved in what goes on the CHL. They're going to push for his rights to be traded. So I wonder if they're waiting for that. Like, I do kind of believe like that they don't want to send him back to the OHL. Like, would you not want? I don't know. Like, I just don't understand why he's not playing here. I understand if you want to send him back, but I just don't see, looking at this lineup, there's like a couple players where I'm like, do they really need to play?
No. Listen, again, I'm a big believer in Shane Wright. I am. Spent a lot of last year looking into his game. Spent a lot of time doing it last year.
Yeah.
Just don't. This is a guy. Again, he's not going to be a super duper 100-point guy, but damn it, like, don't waste the kid. Come on. He. A lot of people make a lot about that staring thing he did to the Habs table, even though he says he denies it. But it's not like he's coming out and saying anything stupid to the media or whatever. It's just. This is a very sort of he's a smart kid. Seems like he's got confidence, but he's not a cocky kid that everyone seems to think he is. This is a good with a lot of tools in that. He's a smart player. If you just give him time and ice time to actually get used to the game, God damn it, he can be something. And you're just wasting it. It's like a nice flower in this. You're not watering it. He's a flower, damn it. He's like a beautiful, I don't know, I like lilacs. He's like a lilac.
I know NCAA rules and getting the guys signed and so forth is really different. But the Kraken, I think they did really well the way they brought up Matty Beniers. They let him play more or less his freshman season, and then they let him play a few games towards the end. And then now they're actually giving him the minutes. If you're going to keep Shane Wright and think he's an NHLer, why not have that same development process of someone who, yeah, like he wasn't touted to be first overall his own draft, but this guy was second in his draft. And I think like there was a bit more of pressure there, both as a center and both as being the first pick ever of the franchise. And he seems to be okay.
Man, it's a good player, but a very good player. Just figure it out. Just don't waste your asset. He's a good player. He's a very good player. Anything else on the Seattle Kraken, Shane Wright, or shall we move on?
Can move on.
Okay, perfect. Pierre LeBrun also in insider trading. Sharks listing on every player apparently except Thomas Hertl. Is Erik Karlsson playing his way back into being a positive asset? Maybe not $12 million. 11, what is it? 11.5?
11 and a half, yeah.
11 and a half. Salary's probably going to have to be retained, but he's off to a good start.
How many years does he have left?
5. I'm on cap friendly now.
Okay.
So I saw the question a couple hours before we started recording, and I thought about it. And I think if he can keep it up, and I think if the cap goes up, I'm not like, listen, I'm of the firm belief he's ending this contract, San Jose Shark. Like I'm just finding it hard to believe that a contract like that's going to be moved unless he's Ottawa Erik Karlsson again. Which at that point, then why are the Sharks trading him? Because they're not rebuilding. Potentially, if the cap goes up at the end of the year, like they say it's going to go up.
You know who needs a right D right now?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
No. You know who needs a right D right now?
Let me look.
Ottawa Senators.
Stop it.
I thought you were going to say the Vancouver Canucks because they don't have any right.
Funny enough, were they not in on Erik Karlsson? Was that not a rumor?
What, the Sens wanted him back?
No, that Vancouver one.
Oh, Vancouver? Oh, well, I don't know. No, leave him alone. I remember that. I don't want to. I want to cheer for Erik Karlsson. I can't do that if he's a Canuck. I can't do that.
Weren't they in on like every defenseman?
And then they got Tyler Mars.
Yes, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
God.
Hey, they also got another defenseman, Ethan Bear.
Oh.
And the Canes did retain salary on him, so
What happened there,
what an
yeah.
absolute saga that was. Ethan Bear, I love how a week ago it was, we're going to he's an NHL player and we're going to get value for him. To not like what was that? What was this unnecessary saga?
I believe it was 18% retained and then they got a fifth.
So it was Ethan Bear at $400,000 retained and Lane Peterson for a 2023 fifth.
What? No, like I'm not criticizing the deal. I'm just like,
I am.
What was that saga? Like clearly did not have the leverage. You never had the leverage that they imagined they did.
When was the last time he played a game?
Not this year.
Let's quickly look at their D because the way it was
Vancouver's
wasn't malicious. Carolina's before we got Vancouver. Coughlin, Shea, Pesci, Burns, Slavin, I get it. Is Jalen Chatfield? Didn't even know he was on the team. I recognize the name. I don't know where he was before.
I'm pretty sure he was in Vancouver. Yeah, he was with Vancouver.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Like, who are your extra guys? Pacioretty, Gardner, and Kosh. Oh, but what a shame for Kosh again, by the way.
Yeah.
Shame. I forgot Gardner was there too.
Yeah,
Gardner and Pacioretty. Wow, you Atlantic. I can't say that word on this. Just love the Atlantic players. It's a shame it couldn't work out, but I'm rooting for Ethan Bear. Apparently, I think I deleted it, but Jay Fresh had some stuff about him that, in his time in Edmonton in heavy minutes, he looked like a good defenseman.
Well, remember Darnell Nurse got paid the year he played with him. he got that 9 point whatever. Well, Seth Jones helped with that.
Was
too,
it money?
but,
Like, why did Edmonton trade Ethan Bear?
because they needed Warren Fogle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
God, I've never been so wrong about a depth trade in my life. I like Warren Fogle. I don't think the Edmonton Oilers do when they got him. Weird team. But the Canucks did win a game. Bruce Boudreau gets win 600. I saw that's the second fastest to 600 wins ever. I'm like, excuse me?
Damn.
Do you remember he was the Remember those Capital years where like they would win? Like Jose Theodore had like 40 wins under Boudreau.
Good for him, man. That's awesome. Second fastest ever. That's loony. Anyway, Rachel, did you see that Rachel Dory put something up? She's like,
Yeah.
Boudreau, great guy.
Also, he was the coach. Remember the Ducks were winning the Pacific every year?
He was amazing. Yeah, but they couldn't win a game 7.
No, they could never.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
And that's why he's perfect for the Leafs.
And then he was a Minnesota. No, goodness gracious. No, he's replacing Burrows to be Montreal's power play coach because Burrows needs
Bruce Boudreau?
Yeah, man. Why not?
I don't think he'd
Barbecue Bruce is gonna love the smoke meat in Montreal. Come on down, buddy. I shouldn't say I don't want him to get fired. I mean, even though
he's not. If he gets fired, that's ridiculous.
So, can we talk about how big of like dicks Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin are for at every chance they get, basically saying to the public, "We don't want Bruce Boudreau as a coach, and we didn't know he had another year in his contract." Have some respect. Like
that was rough.
Like, first off, Allvin, you just got here. Like, you literally just became a GM. Have some respect. Not to mention, I think a big part of why you're there is because I don't want to rip on his ability as a GM, but let's not forget.
There was some influence there.
Was Allvin not, like, with Rutherford back in the Pittsburgh days?
Yeah.
So, have some, like, I just think it's so, like, have some respect. Like, come on, Bruce Boudreau was a great coach. Players love him. They had good things to say after they finally beat their game, beat the Kraken. Shane Wright sitting really helped to win that game, didn't it, guys? I just, why did they do that? Why? You didn't have to go on after hours and be like, yeah, we basically hate Bruce. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get this whole thing. That when it comes to Bruce Boudreau, I do respect their honesty when Jim Rutherford says, we might just have to rebuild. But I'm like, wow, the absolute honesty that just is coming out of Jim Rutherford tonight. But I don't
patience for that. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. But he also doesn't have the assets to do what he might have done in Pittsburgh.
That's true.
Or in Carolina too, I guess.
Yo, shout out, by the way, to the Kraken kicking the crap out. Sorry, to Vancouver kicking the crap out of Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah, what happened there?
And then didn't the Seattle beat them last night?
They did.
Jeez.
Letang's a fraud.
Their goaltending, another story.
Yes. Yeah. First off,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say, first off, first, Curtis questions Bencher off for a person. I was going off about, where's the Tristan Jarry love now? Fraud. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I feel like we should note former Kent Hughes client, Chris Letang.
Exactly, yes. Got him a great contract. No, he didn't. He would have left.
He didn't. He would have left, yeah.
But of course.
Former Kent Hughes.
Darno, there's that deal. There we go.
Well, Seth Jones got Darno. There's that deal. But sure,
Kent came to the table and he's like, listen.
I'm
gonna do it.
This is the new number.
God, I love Kent.
And Ken Holland said, absolutely.
You know who's yet to play a game, by the way, because he's still hurt? Feel bad for him. No, they can't use client Mike Matheson.
He hasn't played yet?
No, because he got hurt, remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can't wait to see him on the power play. I think it'll be good. What's unfortunate for the Sens, that wasn't a transition. I just flat out just went Ottawa there. I don't know.
We're done with Vancouver.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know much change. You got to find what
we're on win number 2 watch now.
I don't mean to cut your transition off.
Right.
I don't mean to cut your transition off. It wasn't much of a
transition.
But I was thinking about it last night, and I'm like, I obviously they're not exact same situations, but obviously the discussion around the team, it's Canada, it's obviously the same. You look at the discussion around the Leafs, and you look at the discussion around the Canucks, and funny enough, the thing they have similar with is it's the same core.
It is.
So again, it's the same core. Firing Bruce Boudreau would do Nothing.
Actually, no, isn't Tucker Pullman on LTIR?
All right.
They've had some injuries, well, like
They have.
week to week, and they've had some. I've seen Noah Juleson get called up and sent down like 5 times.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was the same tweet like the last 3 days.
Every other day, and you're like, what is going on? What's really funny, the Canucks, by the way, if they win their game in hand, they're only 2 points back of the Kings. What?
Jeez.
Like they have the same amount of points, 2 games in hand over the Sharks. And by the way, last in the Pacific, even though they have 3 games in hand over the Sharks, last place are the Ducks. So holy crap! I didn't realize how bad Gibson really. They're minus 20.
Yeah, his save percentage is over or his like goals against average is like about 4. Or last time I checked, I don't know what it was.
We'll get to Ottawa. I need to look up John Gibson's numbers right now. What in the world? John Gibson contract? No, I won't look at that, but I'm sure it's not looking very good. Oh, John Gibson, we can't defend you anymore. Oh, an 884. That's not fun. No. Goals against for some reason. Oh, 4.45. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, Gibson.
Now you know how my fantasy league patience ran out.
Marc-Andre.
This is why you didn't want to trade Steven Stamkos.
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury, by the way, 3.88 goals against. His save percentage is actually up from the 700s to 879.
Last few games, though, been getting me the points.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Been good.
Not wrong. Anyway, I'll do a deal with you for a defenseman, and when McAvoy's healthy, I'll give you a defenseman. Nylander, you give me Steven Stamkos, we can talk.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good defenseman, man. A very good defenseman. You want Chris Letang?
After trashing him for 5 minutes?
After saying
he's good. Look at the number. He's a good player.
He keeps Adam's done this like 3 times to me. He'll trash a player and then literally try to trade him to me.
Yeah, but we all know how good Chris Letang actually is.
Oh,
it's just rough right now. Yeah. Anyway, so low.
It's not good until Pittsburgh, gets another veteran guy for their first and a prospect,
and that's okay.
And then they go point per game for like 3 months, and then I hate the Penguins.
And then they'll extend them.
Yeah, of course, a reasonable number, and just hate it. So the Sens.
Yes, let's get to the Sens.
Guys. This is bad news. Josh Norris may not be back this season with that injury, which is unfortunate. Now, Darren Dreger did say that they're going to try and fit the whole by committee, which is lame. Go do a trade. You want Sean Monahan? He's been good. You want Sean Monahan? Take a first. Want Sean Monahan? Would you be interested in the slightly used Christian Dvorak?
Stop.
Just had a hat trick. Come on,
dude. No, I'm not gonna let the Sens do that
for Tyler Boucher.
Now
Ridley Krieg.
Now they did mention Jagger did say Ridley Greig's played well. I want to apologize myself to the Sens. Shane Pinto's been nasty. So he'll help fill that void. How about Derek Brassard?
What are you apologizing for? Them not including him in the deal for Jacob Chikrin?
Yeah,
I'm not apologizing
right now. Maybe it was smart.
I'm not apologizing.
So let's look at who are some centers that could be available.
I mean, Claude Giroux could go back to center.
No,
he could.
He
could.
I'm trying to think who's available. Are we early enough in the year?
Jonathan Toews. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's not a bad idea.
Tell me I'm wrong.
That is actually, I like that a lot. Or then maybe you do say, or we go Daniels route and we put Giroux at center, and then they say, listen, I don't want Taves, but how about Patrick Kane? Or now with DeBrincat.
All right, yeah.
What's the deal? What's the Kane deal then?
Okay.
Shane Pinto.
Kane or Taves. It has to be the same return. Because I think Taves is a really good idea, Alex.
Wait. What do you mean Taves and Kane have to be the same return?
I mean, well, just for argument's sake, doing this, we'll just say it's the same package because respect and he's a centerman, all that.
No, if Jonathan Toews goes for anywhere near what Patrick Kane goes for, I will be very upset.
I forgot that the Hawks have so many draft picks. They have 2 firsts, seconds, and thirds this year and next. I forgot about that. I really forgot about that. Good for them. Luke Richardson, my boy. How's it doing? So who can they? Oh, God, I forgot about this roster and how are they playing well. Sam Lafferty and Jason Dickinson, who they got in the dump, and Colin Blackwell, Philip. Oh, goodness gracious. Who is Philip Ruse? Who is Jared Tenardi, Jack Job? Ugh.
You have Jared Tenardi.
Who is Arvid Soderblom? Whoever he is, he's the because Mrazek's already.
Mrazek's what?
How
He's
are they
hurt.
winning games?
Oh, is he actually?
Yeah.
He's played like what, 2 or 100 games?
Oh God, give me a second. Petr Mrazek, he played before he got hurt. 3 games where he was 914 save percent.
Okay.
Do you know who is Ryan O'Reilly? I'm just throwing names out there.
Because no, I don't know. The Blues are good though.
Yeah, but they've sold when they're good though.
Would the Sens love a well-traveled Adam Henrique?
No. I think it's gonna be a 1-year guy. Who did they give up? Oh goodness. Oh God, the dogs are going nuts.
Okay, I have a better idea.
What?
Okay. Tell me why Bo Horvat is not going to be a Senator.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
That's pretty.
Okay, what's the deal then? It's
everything. No,
Tyler Boucher and a first with other stuff.
Well, they don't. Oh no, they do have this year's first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was that one for DeBrincat. They have their first. They have their second. They have an additional second next year for the Connor Brown deal. Probably not Pinto because they don't want to do that. I'm trying to think who's the guy they could give up. I have 2 names, but I don't think anyone's going to take them right now.
Let's hear it. Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
No. Speaking of, actually, this is something that Rick West had tweeted out that's very interesting. I think a lot of us have been waiting for. The Standing Committee on Canadian Heritage plans to subpoena Hockey Canada CFO Brian Cairo and former CEO Bob Nicholson to testify November 15th in Ottawa, sources tell me.
That'll be interesting.
That's very interesting. Very excited to see that. The Sens, though, we didn't give you your time.
What do they get? Or what are they giving up? Sorry, it was the question.
A lot.
And why is it not Ridley Greig?
Yeah, give her Ridley Greig.
I think of somebody because, like, out of their recent first, like, only Jake Sanderson I could see not being moved.
Oh yeah, no, they're not going to move.
So,
Jake
like,
Sanderson.
I keep saying Tyler Boucher because, like, he just seems like the most expendable first round pick they got.
I mean, are the Sens going to want him?
Are the Canucks going to want him? You mean?
Oh yeah, sorry, we're doing both.
What are you talking about? He was a 10th overall pick, guys.
I just, I don't know what you want me to say to you there. Well, I think that's everything. Unless I'm forgetting something. Don't think so. Fun episode.
So.
Yeah. Apparently,
we were finally back together after a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
Yeah.
And we will see each other all together in a month. The way it goes. What's going on? I don't even know. Okay. Yeah, thanks, guys. Good seeing you. We'll see everyone next time when stuff's gonna happen.
When the Leafs are back in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cole Caulfield scores more goals. Nasty. Little lamb. Love him. Yeah.
He's a lamb.
Little lamb, little bear. Like gummy bears.
The cauliflower.
Oh, that's so funny.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for listening. We'll see you later.